DocTalk is brought to you by MERCK Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited about the show. Our guest, Dr. Mark Hilton. We're going to discuss things as how to build a high health calf. Many things go into planning for the year-long production cycle, but when you're trying to build the highest health calf, there are things that start all the way back in utero. Stay tuned and enjoy the show.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed captioning brought to you by VetGun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Dr. Hilton, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Folks, Dr. Mark Hilton here, who's a friend and colleague, someone that has spent a lot of time in the veterinary profession, a lot of time in beef industries as a practitioner, as a faculty member at Purdue University, 15 years of practice in eastern Iowa and DeWitt, Iowa, and just thank you for being here.
You bet. Honored to be here. Thank you.
We're going to have a lot of fun. He's now a technical consultant with Elanco Animal Health, and we're going to discuss, building high health calves, right?
Yes.
All right.
One of my favorite subjects.
Well, something that you know a lot about.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Where did we start?
Well, isn't it interesting that the term high risk calves, every feedlot guy would know exactly what you're talking about if you said that word.
Oh yeah.
High health calf, be it some confusion over really what that is. So I think that's negative, that we know the negative and we don't know the positive. So, when I was a professor at Purdue, I gave one of the lectures, the introduction to the beef industry to the freshman students. And, most of these kids have never been around cattle. They're interested in small animal. And I tell them the first lecture, right after I'm introduced, I says, my goal as a food animal veterinarian is to never see a sick animal.
Yeah.
And then I just stop and give them a few seconds, and the puzzled look on their face, and finally one of them will go, how do you make any money? And I said, oh, my clients will pay me plenty to keep their herd healthy. That's their investment. And so that's my goal.
Exactly.
Is to and where do we start? So where do we start? Gestation nutrition of the dam. And if we take an animal that has the proper nutrition, the proper environment, put the proper genetics out there, we throw disease at it, the animal laughs at it, right?
Right.
I mean, so I think the producers, the first thing is this new subject of fetal programming is awesome. I think that as just the most interesting, I read every bit that I can possibly read about it, and I encourage veterinarians and producers to read the same things. If Rick Funston's got his name on it, I'm reading it because the guy is a genius. And the work that they've done and many others on this. So the nutrition of the dam when that calf is gestating from day one until it's born is vitally important to how that calf develops. And some research shows if the nutrition is not correct on that cow, you can have the placenta not develop quite as well as it should. Well, if the placenta doesn't develop as well, now blood flow to that fetus isn't as good as it should be. Now maybe the lungs don't develop as well as they should, and you can have bovine respiratory disease when that calf is 10 months of age, something that actually started when his first weeks of development.
And one of the things I hadn't even thought of is I hear people talk about the reproductive efficiency of those heifers when they become cows.
Right.
When we're talking about reproductive tract development and things of that nature as well, that maybe we don't have as good a conception rates.
Right. Exactly. And overfeeding a cow can make her produce females that kind of think that that's what their life's going to be, overfed, and you put them out in more of a range condition like western Kansas, those heifers are going to fall apart.
Yep.
Because they're programmed to be, to use the nutrition they are. So nutrition of that dam is so important. Then also what it does is it gives that cow an opportunity to deliver that calf quickly. And I use the 30-30-30 rule. See the feet sticking out the back? Calf should be born in 30 minutes. Should be standing up 30 minutes later, should be nursing 30 minutes later. If that's not what's going on, something's wrong, and you need to talk to your nutritionist, your veterinarian, and find out why your calves don't have vigor at birth, because they should.
Perfect. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about building that high health calf with Dr. Mark Hilton. Thanks for joining me today for Boehringer Ingelheim's Cattle First. When we start to think about labels that are on bottles of antibiotics, it's extremely important that we follow them. The first thing that's on the label, what species is this indicated for? So it might be for cattle, for horses, for dogs, or cats. Once we understand the species that these products are labeled for, what's the indication? Bovine respiratory disease. Could it be for foot rot? There's a list of species, indications. After that, what's the dosage, what's the route of administration, and then what's the withdrawal time, or the time in which it's safe to take an animal to slaughter from the time in which the animal was last treated until that animal was slaughtered. So, species, indication, dosage, route of administration, withdrawal. All of these are important components on the label, so make sure that you follow them and use antibiotics judiciously. Boehringer Ingelheim's Cattle First.
When it comes to stopping hornflies, cattlemen love their Vet Gun. Today they love it even more because Vet Gun now has a 1-2 punch with 2 VetCap insecticides. New AIM-A abamectin can be used in rotation with AIM-L for effective in-season control. Each delivers a unique mode of action to manage hornfly resistance. So start your in-season rotation program with AIM-L and new AIM-A abamectin VetCaps from AgriLabs.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Boehringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Mark Hilton. We're talking about building that high health risk calf. See, I can't.
Yeah, there you go. See,
feedlot guy. I can't say the word high and calf without risk.
High health.
High health calf.
Yes.
We got it. We got it. Anyway, so we're going to start out. We've talked about the fetal program. We talked about nutrition of the dam. Now we're going to move into the next area. We got the calf on the ground.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I'm going to back up one bit because I did forget to mention one thing. Some really good research was done up in Canada, North Dakota, Iowa State. All 3 places showed that if cows and first calf heifers were wintered in the same environment, it increased the amount of calf scours, pneumonia in those calves after birth. So it was a high risk factor. And most of the people thought it was because those first calf heifers probably didn't get enough nutrition. Those older cows, got the fair share of it. Then another big risk factor was calving heifers separate from cows. So if we want to have high health calves, heifers should always be fed separately from the cows during the winter, and heifers should always calve separately from the cows during calving season. They should be in two different areas.
It's great information.
Big fan of the Sandhills calving system. I always tell Dave Smith when I see him, I wish I would have thought of that. I could be famous now instead of you. But having that calf have the opportunity to be born in a clean environment makes total sense. It just makes total sense.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, heifers are separate from the cows, two different areas.
Yep.
So all the cows are in a calving paddock, whatever size is what you want. So for about the first 10 days, 2 weeks, you calve in that paddock. So let's call that paddock number 1. Mm-hmm. At the end of that 10 to 14 days, all the cows yet to calve are moved to paddock number 2. The cows that calved stay there. It's opposite of what most of us do.
Right.
Calving in this area that becomes a cesspool of infection and then kicking them out and letting them contaminate everything. This allows those new calves to be born in a new environment. And if anybody's not familiar with it, you put Sandhills calving system in Google, it'll come right up. And you don't have to have 8 paddocks like they have. And the sand is not the key. It's the system. We don't have sand in Indiana.
Right.
And I set a herd up, our students and I set a herd up 5 years ago that for 15 years had calf scours. 15 years, about halfway into the calving season. I didn't know about it. He just came in and got electrolytes. We set him up on the Sandhills calving system. The last 5 years, 0 calf scours, none. So it works.
Yep, and the other thing, we've got about 30 seconds here, but colostrum.
Yeah, and that's my 30-30-30 rule. That calf should be up nursing within 30 minutes. And we know from Lori Perino's work from years ago that calf that doesn't get enough colostrum has a 3 times more likely chance to get sick in the feedlot with bovine respiratory disease. So your calves need to jump up fast and nurse that cow aggressively and get that belly full of colostrum.
Okay. Feeding the cow, colostrum, providing a great environment for these animals. This is going to be a good one, folks. Stay tuned. More on building that high health calf with Dr. Mark Hilton.
Okay.
When looking at the number of farm and ranch operations, the USDA Census of Agriculture says cattle and beef production is the largest single segment of American agriculture. The census also says the average age of the American cattle farmer or rancher is in the late 50s. In order to support the continuous supply of U.S. beef, these producers need to do some business planning to successfully transfer their cattle operations to younger, independent producers.
My name is Sam Hands. I'm part of the operation here south of Garden City, Kansas, known as Triangle H. Our operation starts with an irrigated farming operation and also involves cow-calf as well as farm feedlot. So obviously the beef industry is very important to us as a marketing tool of those products grown on our irrigated farm. I feel especially privileged not only to be a part of the beef industry, but to have had the opportunity to be one of the original 6 delegates from the state of Kansas as the beef checkoff system was established back in 1986. And as I reminisce back at that times back there in the early meetings in the mid-80s and early 90s, to me it was very humbling and gratifying to see all segments of the industry come together with a common goal, and that was to advance the sustainability of the beef industry and by way of a product that was going to bring satisfaction to our consumer.
Hi, I'm Marissa Kleistuper, and ever since I was a little girl, I have always known that I wanted to grow up and work alongside my dad. He has been my hero since I can remember, and got the opportunity to come back home and work alongside my dad on a daily basis and learn from him and watch the family operation continue to grow. And the other best part of my day is my 2 boys get to come alongside and work with us and learn from my dad as well.
But more than anything, as I look at this whole program, is what it's allowed us to do as a sustainable program in the beef industry and has allowed us to bring future generations into the operation in order that the beef industry might be sustainable for the future. My pride and my pleasure to have my daughter and her children to be part of our company here as Triangle H. Thank you.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Boehringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Mark Hilton. We're discussing building that high health calf. Said it right this time.
You did. Very good.
I'm a quick learner.
Yeah.
Now, well, not really. But anyway, we've got these calves born. We've got them up. We're through the calf scours. We've kicked them out on summer grass. What's next?
So I'm going to correct you. We're not through the calf scours because we didn't have any, right?
Gotcha.
We didn't have any calf scours because we did everything right.
Yep.
So 2 to 3 months of age, these calves need to walk through the chute and get the first vaccination into them. Now, they should have been castrated at birth, right? Because I heard a wise young veterinarian one time at a meeting say, the longer the testicles are attached to the calf, the more the calf becomes attached to his testicles. Do you remember who was the veterinarian that said that?
That's the only thing
this
I
guy
got,
right here.
Folks. That's it. That's all.
And
that's
I've
all
used that. I've used that 50 times. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves that. So get them castrated early.
Yep.
If you didn't get them at birth, 2 months of age is a fine time to do it. Walk that calf through the chute. Get a modified live respiratory vaccination into that calf. There's numerous vaccines on the market that you can give safely that the IBR does not shed. If you don't know as a producer, you need to call the veterinarian, your veterinarian, and say, hey, does brand X vaccine shed? If it doesn't, then you can use it on calves nursing pregnant cows. Get that first vaccination into him then. He goes back out with his dam, life's good. Day of weaning, give him a second dose of modified live respiratory vaccination. Then precondition the calves, and if they watch the other segment we did of DocTalk on preconditioning, they'll be right up to speed on that. But get that calf preconditioned at the ranch of origin. Feed him a ration that's not full of starch. Feed a ration that has a lot of fiber in it, so that's a nice healthy ration for that calf. So that
helping adjust that rumen.
Exactly.
Going from a milk grass mix to basically solid feed.
Right. He's never seen starch before. Why would we all of a sudden dump a bunch of starch on the calf? So work with a nutritionist. Get that ration really nice so those calves can gain 2.5 to 3 pounds a day. Story, I was at NCBA and I gave this talk. And Terry Walter from Colorado came up to me afterwards and he said, hey, really nice talk, appreciate that. He said, we guarantee the health of our calves after they leave the ranch. And I said, tell me about that. He says, yeah. He says, everybody that buys our calves has our name and telephone number, and we guarantee no calves will get sick in the feedlot. If they do, we pay for that.
Wow. That's
to me,
some confidence.
Yeah. And I got to thinking, and I got to teach the business class at the vet school, and I taught our students. I read a blog one time, and the guy said, what's the goal of a business? And he said the goal of a business is to develop your employees to their fullest potential. And when you do that, everything happens well. You make money, people are happy, you have retention of employees, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, our calves are our employees, right? Don't we want to develop them to their fullest potential? So all the things of building this healthy calf develops that calf to its fullest potential. So that's what I think we need to be doing.
It's absolutely spot on. Folks, we're going to take a break here with Dr. Hilton. When we come back, we'll do a wrap-up on how to build that high health calf in your herd. Thanks for watching DocTalk. More after these messages.
When it comes to stopping horn flies, cattlemen love their vet gun. Today they love it even more because Vet Gun now has a 1-2 punch with 2 VetCap insecticides. New AIM-A abamectin can be used in rotation with AIM-L for effective in-season control. Each delivers a unique mode of action to manage hornfly resistance. So start your in-season rotation program with AIM-L and new AIM-A abamectin vet caps from AgriLabs.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
Do your cattle struggle with pink eye, BRD, or another disease? Contact Newport Laboratories for a customized solution. Our custom-made vaccines are produced using the specific diseases found in your area. These USDA licensed vaccines offer potential cost savings on vaccine and labor. Contact your veterinarian or Newport Laboratories the next time your cattle are in need of a custom solution. Newport Laboratories custom-made vaccine, because every situation is different.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Mark Hilton. Dr. Hilton is a veterinary practitioner, faculty member at Purdue University for 18 years. You've really had a wonderful career.
I have, yeah.
And touched so many beef producers, so many veterinarians. We just very thankful for all that you've done for our profession. And now he is a technical consultant at Lanco Animal Health. And we're talking about building the high health calf. And we back up to maybe to that weaning time period. And there are some soft wean methods that can be used?
Yeah, we've had producers say to me, hey, I can't precondition my calves because I don't have facilities good enough. I don't have fencing that's going to keep the cow and calf separate, you know, for those first few days past weaning. After that, it's no big deal. And so we looked at the research that came out of Canada about using those nose flaps, a quiet wean flap in the nose. So what that does, it prevents the calf from nursing, from suckling the cow. So we walk those calves through the chute on a Monday. We put the flap in the nose. The calf walks out of the chute, goes right back with his dam on pasture, and he reaches up to try to nurse. And he's like, I don't know how to nurse anymore. I can't get the teat. And so for 5 days, the cow and calf are still together. They haven't broken that bond, but they've broken the nursing bond. The calf's eating a little more grass. Hopefully we're creep feeding the calf the ration that he's going to get post-weaning. So that was on Monday. We put it in. On Friday, we walked the calves back through the chute, pop the tag out, or the flap out. We put the calves on one side of a single strand or a double strand electric wire. That's it. That's all it takes. Cows on the other side, and we'll have 95% of the calves stay where they're supposed to be. So even with, who can't put up 1 or 2 hot wire?
Right.
I mean, so when I hear the excuse, I can't precondition because I don't have the facilities, we've got a solution. A producer in Colorado actually wrote to me after I wrote about it in Beef Magazine, and he did 500 calves, preconditioned them. First time he'd ever done it because he always wanted to take them to the preconditioning sale. He wrote me a thank you card to tell me he made $23,000. He made $46 net profit per calf by preconditioning his calves. And he wrote me a thank you note to say, thanks for your article. You made a $23,000 difference in my operation this year.
That's why we all do it.
It was just awesome to me that, you know, that he took the time to say, hey, thanks, you helped me. And look at his calves, healthier. The feedlot got a better calf, so it was excellent.
So bullet list me, if I own a cow herd, if you had 5 critical control points or 4 critical control points, starting cow nutrition?
Absolutely. Nothing tops cow nutrition. Getting the calf up, separating cows from heifers during the winter, I think is vitally important. Making sure you have the genetics and the nutrition in that cow so the calves jump up and nurse vigorously right off the bat. I think getting that first modified live vaccination into them when they're 2 months of age, approximately 2 months of age, is very important. We know from work at Oklahoma State with John Kirkpatrick that it doesn't matter if you give it at 2 months and weaning or a month before weaning and weaning, and it's a lot easier to give it at 2 months and on weaning on the calf. I came up with 4. That's good enough, I think.
That's perfect. Folks, thank you so much,
You
Dr.
bet.
Hilton. Thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. If you want to know more about what we do here at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson with Dr. MERCK Hilton. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Vet Gun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com.
DocTalk was brought to you by MERCK Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.